Morning. Stand by. I want to bring in now Gabe Crocker. We want to get the police side of the story, president of the St. Louis County Police Association. Thank you for joining us this morning.
I appreciate you.
First, let's get to the National Guard coming in, because you were critical of having the Missouri Highway Patrol come in. You thought that wasn't handled properly.
Right. I thought that was kind of an unfriendly takeover of a situation due to political pressure on our governor and certain local leaders. And now what we've seen here...
Well, hang on, before you go to that, do you think that usurped the local police powers?
Sure. I think it was kind of an inappropriate response. I think it would have been nicer for our governor to come in and utilize his resources to join ours rather than have some kind of situational takeover.
And now the National Guard, what if that...
Well, I think it goes right against what the governor and some of these other leaders have said from the beginning, where they were hoping to demilitarize the situation. Now they're actually calling in the National Guard. And I think that kind of goes to support what I've said from the very beginning, which is that the St. Louis County Police Department was doing a great job, and we could have used those resources. We could have worked together.
You saw it devolve last night into tear gas and all that. What do you think of the demonstrations? What's escalating this violence?
You know, I'm not sure. I think a couple things. I think there were some comments by some local leaders yesterday that could have caused this situation to kind of uprise. Certainly the autopsy results that were released last night could have inflamed certain crowd members. But again, I always like to delineate the difference between peaceful protesters, folks that are out there having their voices heard.
The majority of them
The majority of those folks that are out there, they have every right to be upset. We have police officers that are out there, they're upset. We understand that. But there are those people out there that are really trying to devolve the situation into looting and rioting and violence.
What do you think? What was inflammatory about some of the local comments, and what are you speaking of specifically?
Okay, well, you know, there's local leaders that are inflaming, I think, both sides of the situation. I've seen certain Twitter feeds and Facebook postings by politicians in the area calling for this officer to be arrested but yet asking for justice to move forward at the same time. So I find it quite hypocritical that some of the local leaders will call for this officer to be immediately arrested and tried and charged when really the investigation is still ongoing. That's unfair. It's too fast. It's too soon. And I also think that, you know, I saw some of the footage from some of the individuals speaking to crowds yesterday of protesters where, you know, again, they're saying things that may not be true. They're saying things that they can't back up with facts, and they're inciting the crowd that way by putting information out there that just simply isn't true.
Because all the facts aren't in at the moment. It's going to be quite some time before they are.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I spoke to you about, you know, the guys out in tactical gear and some of the things that were used last night, tear gas.
Right.
People are concerned about that they are in an over-militarized situation, and by bringing the National Guard in, more of a militarized situation. Do you think that will serve to inflame or to quail some of the violence that's happening?
I don't know. I just heard about the National Guard coming in this morning. I don't know what purpose or what role the National Guard is going to serve. I mean, they could certainly come in and be actively involved in the crowd control efforts or suppressing looters and violent acts. Or they might be working more of a perimeter type detail, which would free up more local resources to handle those crowds. I am concerned about the term over-militarized being used quite often. It's really gaining a lot of popularity. I just want to be careful about how we proceed with that term. Well, because in the last 10 to 15 years, what we've seen is certainly, the events of 9/11, increases in school shootings and violent encounters in workplaces and mass shootings. And so some of that equipment and some of those resources are very commonly used in those situations. They're not very rarely, Don, are they ever used just for regular patrol.
Let's get to the autopsy, because I mentioned you said you thought that you didn't think that the autopsy results should be released, or the initial autopsy results should be released so soon.
Well,
you thought that inflame the situation?
Well, it's not my opinion whether or not they should or shouldn't have been, but they were, and now we have to deal with that.
Okay, so as a member of the police department, what do you think of where the shots were? At least 6 shots, and then also a kill shot that they are saying shots to the head.
Okay, I'm not a forensic pathologist, but what I can tell you from a law enforcement view is it's my belief that, well, right away, we've already eliminated quite a few witness statements from that day that were saying repeatedly, and that was also a problem early on. A lot of folks coming forward with stories that just simply weren't accurate or weren't true. So now what you have is a lot of those statements have been eliminated or are now kind of shown to be false to some level. I mean, people see what they see. and they may report what they see, but we know that's not always accurate.
Right. The president of the St. Louis County Police Association, Gabe Crocker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Kate, again, we're going to be out here. Jim will be out here.